minute. We just had our guest.
Yay.
A little bit late, and he's coming here again. We had a short break. And yeah,
Did everything come out alright?
Sorry?
So,
Did everything come out alright?
behind the scene, we were talking about changing your stories to change, can change lives.
Right, right.
So we're talking about not only, because earlier we talked about changing our story, your own story, it can change your life.
Yes.
But this is also based on mga gossiper dyan. People who like to talk about people and things.
Yeah.
You have to be careful because it might be just your own perception and assumptions.
Yeah. I don't indulge in gossip. Every time somebody says, he said that, she said that, and that's tama and that's wrong, I stop. I just get up and I just don't participate in the conversation. Is that okay? We'll give up on the yeah.
Okay.
We'll go to yes.
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 And,
that means we'll agree.
yes.
Yes.
Great.
So are you happy, Miss Cecile?
Yeah.
Yes.
She was saying also one time when she called in, and apparently Bjorn, she said, "This is Cecile." Yeah. And so you said, Miss Cecile, yeah. No, my name is Cecile. Yeah was just my expression.
Cecil, yeah. You thought she was Chinese. So.
Anyway, back to our story.
Right.
So, as you were saying, you don't listen to people who says bad things about
No,
people.
well, again,
Or
I'm not
gossip.
saying bad things when I'm saying it's hearsay, or it's half the information, or the information that is being shared is probably biased, probably one perspective. So I don't want to spend time on absorbing that perspective or participating in that discussion, because life, the quality of life and the time in life is a gift.
Yeah, it's a waste of time.
Why would I indulge in something that is not going to be fruitful to me, to my family, to my friends, or to any total stranger? I will not participate in something that will not help them become better than who they are.
So
And
there
it's so easy to get sucked into that. No?
Yeah, so,
I could just imagine how you could perceive so fast when a person opens the mouth and the first thing that they would tell a story or tell something about.
when they tell
You can
something,
already
yes, I
perceive
would stop.
whether
I
it's
would stop.
reality or it's just a BS. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, yeah,
Or
anyway,
just-
I wouldn't participate. Now, Bjorn and I have met many times, and Bjorn and I laugh and talk about things. And people like us also sometimes happen to slip into something that may not be a productive discussion. But humor, yes. Humor that is harmless, humor that is self-directed, I will participate in that. And Bjorn and I will stand. Bjorn will talk about his height, I will talk about my Indianness, and we will talk about the work we do, and we'll have
And make
great
fun
fun.
of ourselves. Right?
We'll have great fun.
Yeah.
But anytime Bjorn knows this, he talks about you. Without your presence, we will kind of dwindle out of the conversation because it's not there.
But then you
Unless
start
it was a positive
questioning
one.
yes motive.
Unless it was a congratulatory one, something that you did well and we learned from it. But if something that was not even helping, I won't bring it up. Don't give life to it. Don't give life to
So
it.
one of the rules in life when you tell a story is when you talk about a person, for example, who's not there
Yeah.
and it's negative, we should not.
Remember, that's a perspective, no? And if it's a negative, if something is gonna harm you, hear it out. If somebody said, by the way, Raju, I think you gotta watch out for this, no? I'll hear it out, but I will not take action on it, I will not pass judgment on it until I verify that aspect totally, no? And until I can reach the horse's mouth. You know, literally that means if there's an individual who might have said this, I will find ways, I will not jump to conclusions, no? But rarely does that, I mean, it has never happened in my life, but that's what I would do. That's what I would do.
I think it's always best if you have issues to bring it up to the person who can make a difference.
I mean, not...
Which is the person themselves, right?
Yeah.
And then get it clarified, you know. And then.
Well, if it's hearsay,
if
don't
there
do
is
it.
something, exactly.
Unless you heard it, unless you hear it from him. If Bjorn says, Raju, you are so and so, and I would take Bjorn aside and say, Bjorn, can we talk about what you just said about my behavior or my attitude? And then Bjorn will say, Raju, because of this. And if I accept Bjorn's
I
perspective,
never said anything bad.
yeah, I'm just, for example, hypothetical. Yeah, then I would go say, Bjorn, okay, my apologies for what I did. Or Bjorn, I would like to correct this because that's not what I meant, or that's your perspective.
So you can only talk about people if it will involve you, or in a way that it could warn you. Anything that could be of your good.
Not just for myself, for both.
That's
even,
right.
even the speaking party,
Correct.
or the party in discussion, party in context, no? Everything.
I think it's so true because when we talk badly about others, it doesn't just drag them down, it also drags ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. There's proof of your personality.
Especially for the listener, right? You might
Yes,
notice
says it. Not yeah.
Well, one time I was talking to this person, she said, oh, I'm going to sue this person who rented my condo because they got out of the contract early. And the impact it had on me was like, wow, you're a person who likes to sue people. Maybe I don't want to be around you.
Yes,
So
you're already declaring a certain part of you.
exactly,
It might be negative to the listener.
You're exposing your own personality. Right?
So-
I like to work things out peacefully, right?
So here's a story from Greek myth. Socrates was walking down the streets of Rome one day, and an acquaintance, a friend, runs up to him and says, Socrates, Socrates, I want to tell you something about Demosthenes. And then Socrates says, stop. And the gentleman goes, okay, stop for what? He says, well, do you know if it's the truth? And this guy in front of him says, no, I'm not sure. I just heard it from somewhere. All right, says Socrates, so you do not know if it is the truth, you just heard it from somewhere. Let me ask you another question. And the guy in front of him goes, what's it? He says, will it help you? And he goes, no, I'm not sure if it will help me. I just want to tell you the story. And Socrates goes, okay, wait, let's one more question. Will it help me? And he says, no, Socrates, I thought it might just fill your ears with stuff, you know. And Socrates says,
Just chit-chat,
okay. He said, last question. Will it help the person we are discussing? Will it help Demosthenes, my friend? And the guy goes, neither. It's not going to help you, nor me, nor Demosthenes. And I'm not sure if it's the truth. Don't you want to hear it? And of course, you know, the answer is that the guy parts ways and it's end of story. So I think there's a process. And the Rotarians have a good way. Is it the truth? Yeah? Will it create goodwill? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Yeah.
It's the thing. I mean, that's what
Rotarians.
it's a great filter. It's a great filter. That's why you have it on every street corner in Metro Manila. The
It's
Rotarians.
a good reminder. But
Absolutely.
of course, they also have to walk their talk.
They do. They do. Absolutely.
Most of them.
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
That's very interesting, huh?
Yeah.
The
Socrates
next
and the
time-
Rotarians.
Because we Filipinos are very, very, how do you call this? Hospitable, even from the stories of every person who comes to us.
Well, that's a story.
We're too polite, right?
That's the story, Marilyn. We Filipinos are
In
the story.
general, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
See, I have to be careful.
Right,
In
there you go. You report
general,
yourself, eh?
As to my experience, I have to talk like a lawyer. My experience, generally, among the friends that I know and the people that I know, we are very welcoming. We are good listeners. That's why we don't need psychologists and psychiatrists in this country, because you can just
We have
blurt
nutcases.
out your story.
We have
to a friend.
nutcases like us.
Yeah. So now it's so good. That's a good reminder, guys, listening
Right.
there. If a friend or your relatives or anybody comes to you and start blurting out like this Socrates and his friend,
Socrates and his friends.
ask this question. Let's say again, is it the truth?
Number one, is it the truth? Number two, will it help you? Will it help me? Will it help the party that we are talking about? And none of them is a yes answer, then there is no need to discuss that. What is the point of that discussion? What is the point in digesting, swallowing something that will not benefit you? Do you put food that won't nourish you in your mouth? Do you put food? I mean, it's right. You know it that if you put a lot of sugar, if you put in a lot of
You know what's
toxic
gonna
food,
happen.
you know it. So if you don't put toxic food, harmful food in your mouth, why are you putting thoughts in your head that are going to harm your mind? That's a great quote, by the way. Now, let me repeat that one more time. If you do not put toxic food in your mouth to enter your belly, why would you put toxic thoughts in your brain to harm your mind?
Because it ends up in your heart.
Yeah, that's good.
Absolutely. Yeah, don't do it. Just
As they
leave it.
said, in Kabbalah, they said, 1% perception, only your 5 senses can know, but 99% the ones you don't know. So you see, you only perceive 1%.
Oh, there you go.
99%.
An elephant with 100 sides.
Which is unknown. And the
It
unknown.
probably does, right?
Yeah.
So if you remember that, that's a good thing too, you know. Your perception might be wrong. That's why the lawyers probably they do good stories now. They tell stories well, or they sometimes change it.
Here's my story. Here's a story that I want to change about myself.
Okay.
I heard this just a week ago from myself. Somebody asked me, Raju, how's business? How is work? Right? And my response was, business is great. It could be better. And the person said, well, Raju, what can make it better? I said, well, a little bit of marketing, a little bit of plugging, a little bit of systemizing my products, etc. But I'm not so greedy, I went. I'm happy with what I have, I'm cool. And then he said, okay, fine, if you're happy, you're happy. Then I walked away. I said, wait, Raju, a minute ago you said it could improve, and then you said you're not greedy. So you are running with a story that if it could improve, then it is greedy. That is a story that is ruling your life. Are you with me? It's a very unconsciously told story to yourself, no? That maybe if I try to earn more money, therefore that makes me greedy. That is my story, and therefore I shall not strive to make more money. I know what it takes to make more money. Yeah? But my story I'm telling myself is that if I strive to make more money, I could define myself as greedy, and greedy is not a good thing. But I could live with a nicer sofa, a nicer car, a nicer TV, a little money in my bank, money to take my family out to Rome or Paris or even to Boracay. But at the same time, I'm telling myself, hello, striving more for money is being greedy. And that's the story. Now you need to change that story about money. So anyone who's not successful or is making less money or is unhappy with his business growth, you've got to look at the story you're telling yourself. It's called unconscious programming. It's called your meta programs in a certain school of thought. And they rule you. You don't even know how they rule you.
Yeah.
They rule you. No? So I did a workshop 2 days ago, and this is the first thing I mentioned to this group of investors. And I said, first thing, you got to change your mindset about money. You cannot sell tons of stuff unless you change your mindset about money. That means you believe that there's enough of it, and to seek an ample amount from that enough is not to be greedy. They're a humanitarian organization. They're very good people. But again, that can hold them back. So that's one story about money and finance and wealth. Make sense? Business growth.
That's good.
Yes.
That's a good way of putting it that way, right?
Yeah, so I have a response to Miss Cecil Mercado. I think that the reason I say yes is to claim that I have finished stating my point.
Yeah,
so
it's an affirmation. You say, yeah.
I'm going to say yes from now on if that's okay, because yeah is a little rude.
That's
yes?
true though.
Well, in Germany we say ja means yes.
Yeah, but I think it's a
that
little
was
bit...
the German
So
version.
maybe that's the Aryan version of Raju.
Or the influence
Indians
of our
are
German
part
guy.
of the Aryan tribe.
Yeah.
Aryan.
Yes. Yeah, actually, I also said sometimes yeah.
Yep.
It should be yes.
I always say ja.
All right.
Okie dokie.
Okay.
Sometimes I say yo, sometimes I say ja.
Okay.
Great, so I think we've covered enough.
So in a nutshell, so is there a book you're gonna write about changing stories?
No. So this
no,
book
not
is...
this one, but I mean.
No, so let me show it on the camera. Yeah. Can I show it?
Yes, please.
So this book is all about how stories represent your values, how stories represent your truths, and how to find stories, how to structure them, how to serve them, as in how to deliver stories, how to tell them, and different kinds of stories that will inspire you, stories that will help make you a good leader, stories that will entertain you, stories of organizations, because organizations are also like individuals. So you're an individual and you're a system. That means you have so many representation systems of yourself. A larger organization is almost similar, no? So sometimes there are stories that rule an organization and that forms their culture. And great organizations change their stories, so they change their culture. Yeah? Thus they change their success ratio. They change. There are a couple of stories here about how some Filipino companies manage their stories, thus manage their growth. So this is a great book. You can't buy it in National, you can only buy it on Amazon, and it is only $7.95.
Not in the Philippines.
What's for the print copy or for the Kindle?
For the print copy.
Wow, that's very
That's not
interesting.
available in the National Bookstore here?
No,
Amazon.
no. It's only available at Amazon, but it's $7.95, which is like 8 times 4, about 350 pesos.
So the ones that you have, those are...
I just have a few which I sell on during my workshops and speaking events, but other than that, it's on Amazon. It's pretty fast.
So you also order these on Amazon, or you have them printed locally?
I had some I bought from Amazon, some I had locally printed.
Okay, that's the next book I'm going to read tonight.
It's fun.
Like this book, because you're my guest, I thought we would be talking about changing the story of your
It's
life.
almost the same. It's almost the same. May I show it to the people?
Yeah.
So it's almost the same. If you don't like your life, change it. So my statement is, change your stories, change your life.
That's true, because your perspective and there's the the listener and the storyteller, right? You can create chaos. You can create also peace. You can also create beauty. So it depends how you tell your stories,
Right.
right?
And what if you can't change your story?
You always can, right?
What do you think? What if you can't change it?
Well, I think everybody can change the story.
Yes,
Maybe we
you
don't
can.
want to, or maybe we don't know it.
You can always change your stories by humility, of course. Then you say, "Oh, I'm wrong. Let me change
Oh,
it."
if you guys say so.
No, tell me. So tell us.
I thought you're the guru.
I think there are times that you need to change your life. There are times that you need to make physical changes.
True.
Because if your story has become quite close to the objective truth,
Okay.
and it's not disempowering you but causing you real harm, causing you real physical, mental, emotional harm, and then that means you need to close that book, that story that is occurring outside, then you need to change your life.
Yeah.
The people do. There are massive number of people who change their life, no? But be sure that you're not changing it because it's a fictional story. If it is true, that means that's close to the objective truth. Like if somebody's hitting you physically, and you're saying, no, he's a nice guy, he's trying to teach me something, then you're living in the wrong story, you're in the wrong book, change your life.
Yeah.
Right? Does that make sense? If somebody is totally abusive of you and you're trapped in a physical, mental situation, then you need to change your life. Which takes a lot more gumption and
Well, sometimes I say that the pain will push you until the vision pulls you.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah,
The
correct.
pain in our life
Yeah.
sometimes tells us that the change is necessary.
Yeah. So
right?
if your book is a sad story and you want it happier, change it.
But that's in a rare occasion, because many times, most of the times, it's our crazy stories that rule us. There are times that it is just you can't, it is there. There is a certain reality that is it's toxic. Right? Yeah? And don't fool yourself just because you're probably telling yourself a story that is you're making yourself stay in a situation. So figure out the story. That's why, same thing. Open up your story, dissect it, and find out which part of it is not empowering you and making you grow. So if it's a physical reality, if it's an external element or a setup of the story, then you need to change that. But I would not ask you to rush into that, because most of our life is of our making. As I mentioned, when you asked me, that there are times that a comet falls on you or a meteor falls on you, and that might be a universal story, but there are times that sometimes circumstances can occur. Like people who, the guy who wrote the book, what was that book, Viktor Frankl? Man's Search for Meaning, right? Am I right? Man's Search for Meaning. So I'm sure they had to change their stories, and they had to change their lives. People then have to change their lives. And I think lots of people need to sometimes change their lives.
Yeah, and I think most of the time there are stages in our lives we have to change anyway, because life is progressive. You cannot have that story since you were 7 years old and just behaving and telling that story of your life the same. It changes when you're in high school, it changes when you're in college, that story changes when you have your first job, changes when you get married, when you have children, and as you grow older, it depends on the people you're with.
Yeah.
So it depends again, when you tell a story or make the story of your life, you must have a goal, right? Will it make you happier? Will it make the people around you happier?
A very simple example of changing your life would be, say you're smoking. And you go ahead and say, smoking makes me feel good. Right? Now that's the time you need to stop smoking, because
that's addiction.
That's where you need to change your life. Right? And you overeat. And you're saying, because I need it. My physical structure is such. But part of you is telling you, so now you need to do the physical aspect of it. It's hand in hand. I mean, your story and your life are not different, but sometimes you need to take physical action to change what you are living in, what you're surrounded by. So I think that's the end of it, unless you have a question, Mr. Mike.
Yes, and okay, thank you. We already, it's 1:30. Wow, that flies. Alright.
Well,
thank you.
My apologies for being late again.
It's okay.
I couldn't find my car keys.
Yeah, we'll spank
That's
you
the story. Sorry?
We'll spank you later.
I couldn't find my car keys.
And thank you, Rajuh, Bjorn.
Salamat.
Salamat. Thank you, Philippines. And tune in again next week and stay in that channel, wherever you are, or stay in that DZRJ 810 AM on your dial, because equal justice is coming back.
Whoa.
Bye.
Bye.